Hi pen friends, this is Sarah. I had a request from Terry of the channel Drawings and Scribblings to show some of my fountain pens. If you haven't seen Terry's channel, I'm going to put a link to it in the description. So the focus of my fountain pen collection is really interesting materials for the pens. I love beautiful pens, mostly celluloid ones, but also some other materials that just have really interesting patterns in the material. I love natural colors for my fountain pens, like greens and browns, you know, some blacks and grays, but I thought I'd show you some pens and then do a writing sample in the form of a little bit of fountain pen trivia. So there's going to be 10 different sort of trivia questions that I'm going to write down at the end. So I'm going to show you 10 pens and tell you about them, and then I'll write down my questions for you. So first, I've got a pretty recent purchase that I made at the Commonwealth Pen Show in Massachusetts. This is an Ancora pen. You can maybe see Ancora written there. It's an Italian brand, and a lot of these pens that I have here are vintage pens. I mostly collect more like contemporary pens because I've had a bit of trouble with like sacks breaking and stuff, but when I see a pen that's made out of a beautiful material, it doesn't matter to me when it was made. It's just that's what I go for, and I love this sort of tortoise colored material, and it's a celluloid. I do another thing about vintage pens that doesn't always appeal to me is when they're thin or small. This one is actually not too thin for me, and I use it posted, so then it's not too short. And also, I don't know, I find that a lot of vintage pens have very fine nibs, and this one does, but it writes really well for me. So I would say this is probably my favorite vintage pen in my collection. And then I've got this one. I don't think it's a celluloid, but the plastic is like, it has a lot of different colors in it, like grays and greens and golds, blacks, reds. I love it when the material looks like it could be a stone or something from nature and just has a really interesting pattern to it. So this one is, it's a Mabie Todd Blackbird, and the color pattern is called BB239, and it's actually a clipless pen. It has it's got lever filling system. The other one I showed you, this Ancora, this is a blind cap at the end, and it has a button filling system. And with button fillers, I find like sometimes they really draw the ink in well and sometimes they don't, but this one works really well. And this Mabie Todd Blackbird, they had like this one is actually a Mabie Todd as well. This is the Swan, so that's considered their highest level of fountain pens. I don't know exactly how they rated them, but they had like different lines. One was called Swan, one was called Swallow, and one was called Blackbird. And so like in their logo, they have you probably can't see it, I don't know, but they have a little picture of the bird inscribed on the pen. And so I find this one to be comfortable without posting, and it has a really nice sort of italic broad nib. And all of these pens have gold nibs. So somehow I got a little bit of ink on myself. So this one, like I said, is a Mabie Todd Swan, and it's a celluloid that is really gorgeous. It's called Lizard Skin, and they come in different colors. I think, to me, the green is the prettiest. And I bought this one from the guy who has the YouTube channel Old Guy. I just loved seeing this pen in his videos, and then he decided to sell it, so I bought it. And this one has like a sack inside, and you twist the end to fill it. I find it's a little bit difficult to fill, to really get it like a good fill on it, and it does have a very fine nib. Yeah, the celluloid is very fragile, so it is a bit more comfortable to post it, but I don't want to, because I don't want to crack the lid, or crack the edge of the cap. And then you probably have seen, this is a very popular color of the Parker Duofold. I think mine is like a senior Streamlined or something like that. Oh, it is quite hot over here, so it's probably making the pens expel a bit of ink. But the nib on this pen is really big. It's like I think bigger than a number 6, possibly like a number 8 size nib. And I looked for a long time for one that doesn't have the off-gassing discoloration on the barrel. So this one I think is really beautiful, and the color, I think they usually call it like cream and black. This one is also a Parker Duofold, but it was sold to me as a Frankenpen. So someone took some celluloid material, which I think is really beautiful, and took parts from a Parker pen and pretty much made their own pen with, you know, different parts. So I think that's like a one-of-a-kind pen. Mine might need a new sack. It wasn't filling all that well. And also I think it's got a bit of a crack in the barrel. It's a little bit loose around the section and stuff. But I mean, a lot of my pens I get mainly because they're so beautiful. Then this one is not really a vintage pen. This is a Bexley Deluxe in the jungle material, which is it's not a true celluloid, but it is very beautiful. I think Sheaffer used this material originally, and Bexley gets inspiration from other pen brands. Like, you can see that the style of the pen with these black ends and the shape of it was influenced by Parker. And the material they got from Sheaffer. They do sometimes use solid gold trims. This is 10 karat solid gold, and it's a cartridge converter inside, and it's got a metallic nib, and it's a really good writer. I like how Bexley is inspired by other brands, but it tends to make it look like they have such a wide variety of different styles. I don't know if they have like a style that can be, when you look at it, you know it's a Bexley, but I do really think their nibs work really well. All right, I'm going to show you 4 more pens, and then I'll start writing. So here we've got one of my favorite brands, Stipula. This is the Etruria style. They made a lot of Etrurias. Some of them are slightly smaller, some are slightly bigger. I'd say this is kind of the standard size for one. And I think this one is one of a kind. They often, like, just if they had a little bit of a material, they'd do a one-off pen. This one I'd actually seen. This is a Pilot Legance, and I'd seen another one in the same style with this material, which they called Medley, and I'm not sure what Stipula called it, but actually this one says on it 2 of 50, so maybe there were 50 of these. I haven't seen any other ones like this, but it's got like teal and purple flakes, like marbled material. And one thing I like about Stipula pens is they usually use real silver hardware. This one is the only one that I'm showing you in this video that has a steel nib. It's got a really nice metallic steel nib, and it's made in Italy. I tend to prefer pens that are made in Italy. Yeah, so this one is the Pilot Legance. They had a few different styles of Legances. Some have like flat tops, but this one is one of the rounded ones. And I wanted to try a Pilot Gold nib because I'd heard they write really nicely, and this does. But a lot of Pilot pens, I find the material that they use for the body of the pen can be a little bit boring in my opinion. So I did look out for one that had nice material, and this one is like really chatoyant green material that I think is pretty. Then here I've got a Diplomat 75th anniversary pen. You might be familiar with Diplomat. They make a popular pen called the Arrow that has a steel nib, but this one's a gold nib pen. It has silver, real silver trim, and I think this turtle, there's a lot of different like versions of tortoise material or turtle, or I like to collect different ones of that sort of material. So this isn't a celluloid, but it has some really nice chatoyants and like little flakes of white and yellow and black. And then this one is a Montblanc Franz Kafka from the Writers series. A lot of the Writers series pens are pretty fancy. This one is probably one of their more like simple looking ones, but I really like it. It's a very long pen, and you can see it's like a really dark red transparent material. In some lights it can look black, but it has an interesting red glow to it when you get the sun coming through it. And the Writers series ones have like a signature on the cap of the author that they're dedicating the pen to, and that cute little Montblanc button on the top, and sterling silver trim. Some of the aspects of the pen are meant to look like kind of insect-like the clip might be an insect leg, and then the clip or the nib has a bug on it because of the Metamorphosis book by Franz Kafka. And I think the nib on it is really good. I guess it's a medium, but it writes more like a broad, and it's kind of stubby and nice and juicy. So I enjoy writing with this pen a lot. And it's the only one in the Writers series, I think, that has the cartridge converter instead of a piston. All right, so let's move on to the trivia. So I was interested in where the names of fountain pen companies come from. And so this trivia is going to be about where the names of companies that make fountain pens or fountain pen nibs come from. All right, now for the trivia. So first, what fountain pen or nib company was named after Gebruder Hartmann? Which means Hartmann brothers in English. A lot of these, the names come from some of the letters. The company names come from some of the letters in people's names. Now I'm going to write with the Ancora. What fountain pen company or nib company gets its name from Golden Luxury? A hint on this one, the name of the company is Golden Luxury in a different language. Okay, the maybe Todd Blackbird. What company gets its name from, I don't know how to pronounce this exactly, but Joachim and Wolfgang? And this one my husband was able to figure out, even though he doesn't know a lot of fountain pen companies. But what company gets its name from Officina Mechanica Armando Simone, which means the workshop of Armando Simone. Now we've got the Diplomat. What company gets its name from Swan Wen Tong, that's a T, B, which means Hall of Three Culture Pen. I know from taking karate that san means three, and that I know from taking calligraphy that B means pen. I might not be pronouncing those correctly, but anyways, what company gets its name from those words? Now the Montblanc. Sorry, this one might be running out of ink. Let me just prime the converter a little bit. What company gets its name from the boat that rescued Namiki and Masao Vada. I've got the Stipula. I find that because this one's pretty lightweight, since it's a cartridge converter, that I enjoy posting it, whereas ones with the piston I don't post. What company gets its name from the occupation of the Englishman who introduced Kayagoro Sakata to fountain pens. The Parker Duofold. What company got its name from Danny Lynn and partners? And the Frankenpen Parker Duofold. What company got its name from a straw that ancient Romans broke as a sign of agreement between negotiating parties. And a hint, several of these companies are ones that made the pens I just showed you. And our last one with the Bexley. What's a company that is named after the quality? Sorry about that. Of architectural beauty written about by Etruria. Sorry about my handwriting. My right hand really gives me trouble. I've been writing a lot this year with my left hand, but I didn't feel like doing that for the video, even though it's coming along pretty well. Alright, so I'll go through them again. What company's named after Gebruder Hartmann? After Golden Luxury? After Joachim and Wolfgang? After Officina Meccanica Armando Simoni? After San Wen Tong Bi? After the boat that rescued Namiki and Masao Vada? After the occupation of the Englishmen who introduced Kayagoro Sakata to fountain pens? After Danny Lynn and partners? After a straw that ancient Romans broke as a sign of agreement between negotiating parties? And after the quality of architectural beauty written about by Vitruvius. Alright, you can pause the video and write down your answers and then turn it back on to hear what the answers are. Alright, so here we go, the answers. The company Geha was named after Gebruder Hartmann. The company Jinhao is Chinese. Jinhao is Chinese for golden luxury. Joachim and Wolfgang make Jovo nibs. Officina Meccanica Armando Simoni is Omas. San Wen Tong B. They took it in sort of backwards order here. It's Twisby. So TWS and then the B for pen. The boat that rescued Namiki and Masao Vada was a pilot boat. The occupation of the Englishman who introduced Kayugoro Sakata to fountain pens, his occupation was a sailor. Danny Lin and Partners make Danny Trio pens. A straw the ancient Romans broke as a sign of agreement between negotiating parties. Stipula. And the quality of architectural beauty written about by Vitruvius. Ven Vistus. It's a Italian company that makes pens and ink. They're not as well known here in the US, but I highly recommend their ink. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're doing well. Have a great Valentine's Day. Bye.